everyone. My name is Elizabeth Manns, and I'd like to welcome you to the April 4th Coalition Show. This is the August 18th edition of the 2025 edition of the show. And our mission statement is we are for workers' rights and collective bargaining rights and are against tax breaks for the rich and corporations who ship our jobs overseas. We support all the articles of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, but as is our custom, we put the emphasis on Article 23 at the start of the show. And because the panel is a little light today, Dick has 1 and 3, and I have 2 and 4.
All right. Number 1, everyone has the right to work, to free choice of employment, to just and favorable conditions of work, and protection against unemployment.
Number 2, everyone without any discrimination has the right to equal pay for equal work.
Number 3, everyone who works has the right to just and favorable remuneration, ensuring for him or herself and his or her family an existence worthy of human dignity and supplemented, if necessary, by other means of social protection.
And number 4, everyone has the right to form and join trade unions for protection of her or his interests. And as is our custom, we would like to thank the program director of WMNB for airing the audio portions of our show on Fridays at 6 p.m., and to the staff here at NBCTC, Matthew Tucker and Nicole A. Brown, for their assistance in putting on the show.
And we just said number 4, where everyone has the right,
Right.
to form and join trade unions for your protection of his or her interests.
Right, and that is, once again,
That's under
attack.
fire.
That is definitely under
You
fire.
remind me, at the federal level, you know, the President administration is following what transpired in Wisconsin in 2011. They're trying to take away collective bargaining rights for public employees. So there's this video, this group, it says American Workers First. I'm not sure if I like that, American Workers First, I say all workers, but this is a short video. They talked about just cause, and one of the reasons why you should join a union is you get protection because of that, you know. So let's hear what just cause is.
Hello, Union family. I'm Charles with American Workers First. Welcome back to Union Facts Friday, and today we're talking about what is just cause. Just cause is the standard that management must adhere to when disciplining or discharging an employee. It means that in a union setting, the employer must have a reason to act in disciplining an employee, and the reason must be just and fair. Just cause has become a common standard in labor arbitration and is usually included in a union contract as a form of job security. Over the years, the opinions of arbitrators in discipline cases have established a set of guidelines or criteria to be applied to the facts of each case, commonly known as the 7 tests of just cause, which are: notice, was the employee adequately warned of the consequences of their actions? This means that the employer must have clear rules of conduct at the workplace, including the consequences for violating such rules. The company's policy was reasonable. The employer's role cannot be arbitrary, capricious, or discriminatory, and it must be applied consistently. Investigation. Did the company conduct an investigation before making a decision about taking disciplinary action? The burden is on the employer to gather all the facts concerning the alleged infraction. Was the investigation fair and objective? The employer must conduct an unbiased and timely investigation. It must respect the employee's rights to due process and a union representation. Proof. There has to be proof. The investigation must produce substantial verification of a violation, and the conclusions of guilt must be supported by the evidence. Equal treatment. The rules must be applied consistently to all of the employees. And finally, was the discipline appropriate for the violation? Does the punishment fit the crime? These are all protections that union workers have on the job. So the question that begs to be asked is, what do non-union employees have in regards to job security? Nada. Zero. Zip. Zilch. None. Nothing. Now, there are a few illegal reasons when it comes to termination, but in general, an at-will employee can be fired at any time for any reason or for no reason at all. If the employer decides to let you go, you're gone. Now, does this mean that you can just do whatever you want and there won't be any repercussions? Of course not. But it does mean that an employer can't do whatever they want, and there have to be fair and just reasons when administering discipline. Now, I know as a worker which option I find more appealing. Thanks for joining us on Union Facts Friday. If you could give this video a like, we would really appreciate it. We will see you next week, and until then, keep demanding that American workers get put first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What did you think of that from your union steward
From my
past?
union steward background, I had the honor of representing a couple people who were unjustly terminated because the crime the punishment was not progressive, which is usually in most contracts, is that you not only have how you determine whether or not someone should be terminated, but you also have discipline steps. That's usually what was in ours. And they would always want to jump 1, 2, and 3 and go to 4 right away. And I would almost always win back the job for the person. Now, do they last? That's another matter, but I would at least be able to get them back their job if they were willing to fight for it.
Yeah.
Because that was in our contracts and it was laid out very clearly what the steps were. And the college would normally skip the verbal warning then you would get the written warning, and then you would get the 1 to 2 day probation, and then there was supposed to be a 30-day probation, and then you got terminated. They would like to jump to 3 and 4 and 5 every time.
Yeah, I became a union steward in around 1985, and the first grievance that I had to take in the grievance procedure was a dismissal. So it was a trial by fire. But like you said, in all discipline cases, there's 2 basic fundamental things. First, it must be corrective in nature. Sure. The discipline should be corrective, not punitive. Yeah, and the second thing is it should be progressive in nature, like you had said. And
that just happened to be the steps in mine.
Yeah.
And the honest truth is, when they eliminate those rights out of your contract, you give them up, you are the most vulnerable person there is in the world.
Right, and what they have is, if you're not a member of a union, then, in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you're an at-will employee. And so none of these things apply. But as human beings, as human beings or citizens of the United States, we have a Constitution, and then there's also the Universal Declaration of Human Rights for human beings. So I'm just trying to make a transition from workers' rights
to
human rights and immigrant rights.
Yep.
And it's the same thing. There should be. Yeah, I went. There's an event coming up. I'll talk about it later. But we're in a crisis, I think, nationally right now. And so we have a video it's a short video put out by Reverend Barber of the People's
Poverty.
I'm losing it right now. I'm sorry. I have one of those. But it's about the movement for the Poor People's Campaign.
Okay,
that's it. But they put out this 1-minute video called Amazing Grace. Let's watch that.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
Yep.
Very moving.
Very moving, and yes, we have been chosen.
It's
up to us because we're the ones who elected in the people of hate.
Right.
And we have to decide if we want to have our country hollowed out like this,
I think people
become
are
a shell of what it was, or if we're going to stand up for people,
right.
everyone.
I think people are rejecting it. What we're doing here locally at St. Elizabeth's of Hungary Parish is sponsoring this get-together. If you can see it, it's going to be next Monday night on August 25th. And it's immigrant rights equals human rights. It's a presentation on the dimensions of the problems faced by our local immigrant community and how we're called to help. And the presenters are going to be two that were on our show previously, Fernando Leon of the Berkshire Interfaith Organizing Leadership Team and Michael Hitchcock of Roots, Dreams, and Mustard Seeds. And also they're going to be joined by Deacon Margot Page of the Cathedral of the Beloved. She's an Episcopal deacon. And so there will be a discussion at 6 p.m. at St. Elizabeth of Hungary Parish Center in the multipurpose room next Monday, August 25th. And in preparation to that, at first, it was just going to be for the Catholic community, but now it's been expanded to the community as a whole. But I went through some of the readings in my Bible, and I don't want to say that this is my the documents from which my mother and father raised me. So other people have other faiths and other things to draw upon. But I just want to share what I pulled out of the Bible that is part of my. There was so how do these passages call us to help our immigrant neighbors? And so here's a quote. It says, "The Lord God therefore banished him from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he had been taken. When he expelled the man, he settled him east of the Garden of Eden." That's Genesis 3:23. So there was a little bit of being displaced right from the beginning. So we're all sharing that displacement. Then another one from Genesis is, quote, "Know for certain that your descendants shall be aliens in a land not their own, where they shall be enslaved and oppressed for 400 years. Genesis 15:13, words to Abraham. And then this is another one from Genesis. Jacob replied, "The years I have lived as a wayfarer amount to 130. Few and hard have been these years of my life, and they do not compare with the years my ancestors lived as wayfarers." Another one from Exodus. "You shall not oppress an alien. You well know how it feels to be an alien, since you were aliens once yourselves in the land of Egypt." Exodus 23:9. Yeah, in America that applies
to everyone,
just about everyone. Then from Leviticus, quote, "You shall treat the alien who resides with you no different than the native born among you. Have the same love for him as you for yourself. For you too once were aliens in the land of Egypt, and I, the Lord, am your God." Leviticus 19:34. Then from the Psalm 10, "Proudly the wicked harass the afflicted, who are caught in the devices the wicked have contrived."
Which is what's going on here.
All these immigrants.
With all these arrests and detentions that the federal government is doing is of their own devising, and they're making where they're going to do it, how they're arresting them, the locations they're making it impossible for them to live, let alone be safe.
Yeah. Later on in Psalm 10, it says on line 14, "On you the unfortunate man depends. On the fatherless you are the helper." And then later on in line 18, "To the defense of the fatherless and the oppressed, that man who is of the earth may terrify no more." Then in Psalm 39, line 13, "For I am but a wayfarer before you, a pilgrim like all of my fathers." And then in Psalm 119, line 19, "I'm a wayfarer of the earth, hide not your commands from me." Then in Matthew 3:14, "Joseph rose and took the child and his mother by night and departed for Egypt."
So even our Lord was an alien at one point, an immigrant.
Yeah, they had to leave the country because the baby's life was in danger, so the mother and father fled at night to another country and were immigrants there. "Do to others whatever you would have them do to you." Matthew 7:12. Matthew 25:35, "For I was hungry and you gave me food, I was thirsty, you gave me drink, a stranger and you welcomed me, naked and you clothed me, ill and you cared for me, in prison and you visited me." Matthew 25:40. Whatever you did for one of the least brothers of mine, you did for me. Then Luke 17:12. Has none but this foreigner returned to give thanks to God? Then in Acts 6, in Stephen's speech, he says, and God spoke thus, his descendants shall be aliens in a land not their own, where they shall be enslaved and oppressed for 400 years. But I will bring judgment on the nation they serve. And then just another thing from Acts 25:16. It was when Paul was about to be taken away, and the Roman answer. I answered them that it was not Roman practice to hand over an accused person before he has faced his accusers and had the opportunity to defend himself against their charges. And that's what we're talking about,
Yeah.
due process.
Due process.
And
there is no due process right now
No.
for immigrants. So
No.
we're not treating them as brothers, and we're certainly not treating them equally as those born in the country. And in the end run, this slide down, it's going to apply to everybody, to us who think we are U.S. citizens. Because frankly, are we? How can we prove that we are,
Yeah.
ultimately?
Right. So we have a video that we'd like to show about, and we hope the discussion will lead to this too, but what are the different ways to support immigrant rights? It's a short video, but I just wanted to play that.
What are the different ways to support immigrant rights? If you're wondering how you can make a difference in the lives of immigrants and support their rights, you're in the right place. Let's explore some practical and impactful ways to get involved. First, one of the most effective ways to support immigrant rights is by urging your elected officials to take action. You can write to your members of Congress and advocate for a pathway to citizenship for all immigrants. Research shows that a significant majority of people in the U.S. support making the immigration system more welcoming and fair. So your voice can help push for positive change. Another important step is to promote messages and policies that highlight the positive contributions immigrants make to our communities. By talking to your family and friends, writing letters to the editor, and commenting on local media websites, you can help shift the narrative away from anti-immigrant rhetoric and towards a more inclusive and just approach. Joining community events and actions can also be powerful. Participate in protests, rallies, and vigils that support humane immigration policies and oppose harmful ones. These public displays can garner media attention, pressure elected officials, and engage more people in the cause. Volunteering your time is another valuable way to support immigrants. You can accompany immigrants to court processes, check-ins with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or other appointments. Organizations like the American Friends Service Committee, AFSC, and the Religious Action Center have local offices and programs where you can get involved. If you have legal skills, you can represent immigrants and asylum seekers pro bono. The National Immigrant Justice Center, NIJC, provides support and guidance for attorneys who want to help those without representation. This can include cases for asylum seekers, detained individuals, and families separated at the border. Language skills can also be a big help. Many immigrants need assistance with interpreting and translating, so if you have an advanced ability in English and another language, you can volunteer to help with these services. Contacting your members of Congress to advocate for specific policies is crucial. For example, you can push for defunding harmful immigration practices and for the creation of a more humane asylum system. This includes supporting the right to counsel in immigration court and funding for emergency migration responses. Supporting campaigns and organizations that work for immigrant rights is another way to make a difference. Amnesty International's I Welcome campaign, for instance, calls on governments to welcome refugees and provide them with safe and fair opportunities to rebuild their lives. You can join this movement and support other similar initiatives. Donating to organizations that provide legal services and community outreach can also be very helpful. Your donation can fund life-changing legal services, community outreach programs, and lawyers who work to get people out of detention and reunite families. Lastly, staying informed and sharing trustworthy information is key. Sign up for updates and action alerts from organizations like the NIJC to stay informed about immigration issues and know when you can take urgent action. Sharing this information with others can help spread awareness and mobilize more people to support immigrant rights. By taking these steps, you can contribute to a more just and welcoming environment for immigrants and help ensure their rights are protected.
That's quite a list.
It was. There are things you can do.
There are things anybody can do, and I'm surprised they left off. I mean, I saw the one about interpreting. They didn't have you videotaping when somebody's being arrested. That was the only one I missed.
Right. We have this guide, and hopefully it'll be handed out on Monday night, and it's about the ICE activity guidelines for bystanders.
Genders.
Did
Right,
you want to
They had the
review
one
these?
about acting as an interpreter, but, you know, they don't have you so that if you have evidence proof. It's the only one I saw that was missing on it.
Yeah.
I mean, and the other ones, you know, those seem to be more for helping them through the process
Yeah.
of becoming a U.S. citizen or finding ways to do it that way.
But, you know, contacting elected officials and making them aware that we
Yeah.
need laws that stop what's going on
Not
right
here.
now, you know? We need a pathway to citizenship, you know?
And we need a government that respects the law,
Yeah.
which we don't have at
Yeah,
the
we have
moment.
to have a human asylum laws, you know,
Right.
because people have the right, according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, they have a right to seek asylum from another country. Why? Well, we
what?
might need that.
We might
asylum
need it someday,
in-
right,
at
or-
another, in another country. So that's why they made that part of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. There
Right.
are situations where you have to flee, just like we read that biblical.
Just like we have going on in Gaza or Ukraine or Africa.
Afghanistan. And
Extreme
that's the
poverty
unfortunate thing.
pushes.
We're coming to like the 5-year anniversary of the fall of Afghanistan,
Right.
where women now have absolutely no rights at all. And there were people that we brought to this country that helped us, that served as interpreters, and now they're being sent back to a terrible situation. You know, that's the whole thing about, you know, treating someone like you would like to be treated.
Treated.
And that takes understanding and compassion.
It
And that's
does.
what you have to do. And that's why we have courts and we have immigration courts.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I don't think their immigration courts are acting on their own. I think it's more of a top-down. They're being told
What to do,
this is
right.
what to do. Just look around here in North Berkshire. We need young people. We need people to work.
Right.
We need to welcome people, make them part of the society. They have so much to offer. If you look around in North Adams, if you look at all the steeples,
Right,
why were those churches built?
to
They-
welcome people.
They were built because immigrants came here and wanted to preserve some of their culture and their religion, and they built those churches. They raised the money. They set up mutual aid
Yeah,
societies, and you know, to help them with certain costs that would come, and they improved the community. You know, they make America a stronger country because of our diversity. You know, I have an Apple phone, and who was the guy that founded Apple? What was it, Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs, yes.
Steve Jobs. Well, his father was a Syrian immigrant.
Immigrant.
Yeah, a refugee that came to this country. And look at the corporation.
That Steve Jobs has built, just one
Yes.
generation.
Right. It's
I mean, yes, immigrants bring creativity and new energy into the country, and that creativity just blossoms. If you become centered in on yourself, there is no creativity.
right. If you
just
go,
can't have
yeah, if you want to go to the doctor, you know, I think out of 4 doctors in America are foreign born. They want to
They
come
are.
here.
Yep.
We have the institutions. They want to, you know, they want to learn. They want to practice here, and it's to our benefit. If we keep immigrants out, you know, they're not going to come to our universities. They're not going to learn to become doctors, and you know,
and all and let alone anything else, engineers, whatever.
right.
And knowledge is what enables all societies and everybody
Right.
to rise.
I have this mantra that, you know, I read in one of the books that I reflect on, but it talks about knowledge, and it says there, you know, there's virtue in knowledge, there's goodness in knowledge, there's strength in knowledge, and there's freedom in knowledge.
Yep.
So we shouldn't be anti-knowledge
Knowledge.
or anti-intellectual,
thinking.
you know, running down colleges and people who are college educated or people who are educating themselves. It is a virtue. Yeah. Even spiritual knowledge, if you get spiritual knowledge,
Right.
you know, and I think, I'm not sure if it was a Hindu or a Buddhist, spiritual knowledge is a raft that helps you, you know, when times of distress, you know. And right now, our country is in distress. And we have
Definitely
to
in distress.
look back on those ancient traditions on how we should interact with each other, not using them as a weapon to fight each other, saying we're different and our differences can't allow us to work together. We should look at them, reflect on them, and how we can work together better when we reflect those views that are the basis of
all religions. Because I
of our
guarantee
faith,
if
yeah.
you look at any faith, all faiths, they all have common points in them. You just have to get past it. You look at a Jewish, no, it's the Quran for the Islam. The Jewish have
The Torah.
And we have a Bible, but if you were to translate all of them properly, we have various versions of the Bible, but they all have the same basis. They're a way for society to function and to treat each other with compassion and equality and humility. None of them are intended to get you to go kill
Right.
somebody. They
Right.
don't want you to do
I
that.
think, you know, in the Hindu and the Buddhist religion and the Jain
All of them.
religion, you know, it's all about respect for the human being, and that every human being is like our Declaration of Independence says, you know, all men are created equal and endowed by the Creator with certain inalienable rights. And among these rights are life, liberty, and happiness. But not all of those rights. That wasn't just limited to those three, and it just wasn't limited to white male landowners. It's universal. It's like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and this Universal Declaration of Human Rights expands life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness it expands it in a reaction to what happened in our society during the Great World War II, when fascism and Nazism
was on the rise.
were treating people as subhuman, and putting them in concentration camps. And exterminating them. You know, in reaction to our failures during that time, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was developed. And that's why we have to look to that as a guide on how to move forward. We also have, like, Timothy Snyder's book, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century on Tyranny. You know, we just have to keep moving forward and support each other in solidarity. Just like a union needs solidarity,
people need solidarity.
just like the preamble to our Constitution, in order to form a more perfect union.
Yep.
That's what our nation is.
It's about. It's what we're supposed to be striving for, and hopefully we will. We're coming to the close of our show today, and we hope to be back August 25th. And we're going to end with Mike's favorite saying, "Power to the people."
Power to the people.
Mistakes of the bosses we must pay for. From the cities and the farmlands to trenches full of mud. War's always been the bosses' way, sir. The Union forever defending our rights. Down with the black leather workers unite. With our brothers and our sisters in many far off lands, there is power